Dr. Veltar stared at the screen in horror. The data from the deep space probe could not be correct. No planet could be this hostile and still exist. He checked the readings again, hoping to find an error in the system. But the numbers remained the same. "Clixandra, you need to see this," he called to his supervisor. The chief surveyor of the Galactic Commission floated over to his workstation. Her tentacles moved nervously as she read the data. "This cannot be right," she said, her voice trembling through the translator. "Show me the probe's location again." Veltar pulled up the star chart. A small yellow star appeared on the screen, located in a quiet arm of the galaxy. The probe had been sent there as part of routine exploration. They were looking for new worlds that could be colonized or mined for resources. What they found instead was a nightmare. "The third planet from the star," Veltar said, pointing at a small blue and green world. "The probe has been studying it for 6 standard days. Every reading suggests this world should not exist." Clixandra examined the atmospheric data first. Oxygen levels at 21%. That would kill most species within minutes. Our people can only breathe oxygen at 3% or less. "It gets worse," Veltar continued. "Look at the temperature readings." The screen showed temperature data from across the planet. In some places, the temperature dropped below the freezing point of water. In others, it rose high enough to boil. Liquid mercury. Most shocking of all, these extreme temperatures existed on the same planet at the same time. "How is this possible?" Clixandra asked. "No world can have such extreme variations and still support life." "The probe detected massive storm systems," Veltar explained. "Hurricanes with winds over 200 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes that can destroy everything in their path. Lightning strikes that happen millions of times each day." Clixandra's tentacles turned pale with fear. On her home world, winds above 20 kilometers per hour were considered dangerous. The idea of storms hundreds of times stronger was beyond her understanding. "What about geological activity?" she asked. Veltar switched to seismic data. The planet's crust is constantly moving. Earthquakes happen every few minutes somewhere on the surface. There are over 1,500 active volcanoes. Some of them are large enough to affect the entire planet's weather when they erupt. 1,500? Clixandra repeated. Her own world had 3 volcanoes, and they had been dormant for millions of years. The idea of 1,500 active ones was terrifying. "The gravity is also extreme," Veltar continued. "Nearly twice the galactic standard. Most species would be crushed under their own weight on this world." Clixandra looked at the water coverage data. 70% of the surface is covered. With this liquid, can life survive in it? For most species, no. Water is corrosive to many of our member races. The Silthran people dissolve if they touch it. The crystalline collective shatters in its presence. Even species that can tolerate water cannot survive in such large quantities. The data continued to paint a picture of impossible hostility. The planet experienced ice ages where most of the surface froze solid. It had periods where massive rocks from space crashed into it, destroying everything for thousands of kilometers. Forest fires burned for months at a time. Floods covered entire continents. "This world is trying to kill everything on it," Clixandra observed. "How does it even maintain an atmosphere?" "The magnetic field," Veltar explained. "It protects the atmosphere from solar radiation. But the field is created by a molten metal core that makes the entire planet geologically unstable." Clixandra floated back to get a better view of all the data. "I have never seen anything like this. We must classify this as a death world immediately." "What class?" Veltar asked. "Class 12. Maximum danger rating. No species should ever attempt to land on this world. Even automated mining would be too risky." Veltar began preparing the official report. Death worlds were rare, but not unknown. The galaxy contained several planets that were too dangerous for colonization. But this world was different. It was not just dangerous in one or two ways. It was dangerous in every possible way. "Wait," Veltar said, looking at another set of readings. "There is something strange here?" "What now?" Clixandra asked, dreading more bad news. "The probe is detecting artificial structures on the surface, large ones, and electromagnetic signatures that suggest advanced technology." Clixandra examined the readings carefully. This must be equipment malfunction. Nothing could build cities on that world. Nothing could even survive long enough to develop technology. "The readings are consistent across multiple sensor types," Veltar insisted. "Something is definitely creating these signals." "Impossible. Run a full diagnostic on the probe." "These readings cannot be accurate." Veltar initiated the diagnostic sequence. While they waited for results, he continued studying the mysterious signals. The electromagnetic patterns looked similar to those created by advanced civilizations. There were regular pulses that suggested communication networks, energy signatures that indicated large power sources. "Diagnostic complete," the computer announced. "All systems functioning within normal parameters. No errors detected." Clixandra stared at the screen in disbelief. "You are telling me that something is alive on that death world? Something intelligent enough to build cities and use technology?" "The data suggests yes," Veltar replied. "But I agree, seems impossible." "Perhaps it is debris from a crashed ship," Clixandra suggested. "Some unfortunate crew that fell into the planet's gravity well. The structures are too large and too organized. They span entire continents. This would have to be a massive civilization." Clixandra considered the possibilities. "Maybe they are refugees, survivors from some other world who became trapped here. They could be slowly dying out. If so, they have been there for a very long time. Some of these structures appear to be thousands of years old." "Thousands of years?" "Nothing could survive on that world for thousands of years." Veltar pulled up more detailed scans. "Look at this." The probe detected artificial lights on the night side of the planet. Millions of them. They are organized in patterns that suggest cities and transportation networks. "This is disturbing," Clixandra said. "If something can survive on that death world, what does that tell us about its capabilities?" "I do not want to think about it," Veltar admitted. "Any species that could evolve in those conditions would have to be incredibly tough, incredibly dangerous." Clixandra made her decision. "Classify the planet as Class 12 Death World. Quarantine status. No contact allowed under any circumstances. Whatever is down there, we do not want to meet it." "Should we report the artificial structures?" Veltar asked. "Include them in the report, but emphasize that they are likely malfunctioning equipment or debris. I do not want to panic the Council with stories of Death World survivors." Veltar finished the report and transmitted it to the Galactic Council. The planet was officially designated as uninhabitable and placed under permanent quarantine. Warning beacons would be positioned around the system to keep ships away. But as he worked, Veltar could not stop thinking about those artificial structures. Something was alive on that impossible world. Something that had not only survived, but thrived in conditions that would kill most known species within minutes. He hoped they would never have to find out. What kind of creature could call such a nightmare world home? Some questions were better left unanswered, and some mysteries were too dangerous to solve. The report was filed, the warnings were posted, and the Death World was forgotten by most of the galaxy. But Veltar kept watching the probe data, and what he saw in the following months only made the mystery deeper and more terrifying. Captain Jake Murphy was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency alert sounded throughout the Earth Defense Force headquarters. He set down his cup and rushed to the command center, where Admiral Lisa Hayes was already studying multiple screens showing data from the outer solar system. "What do we have?" Jake asked, still trying to wake up fully. "Long-range sensors picked up 3 unknown vessels at the edge of our system," Admiral Hayes replied. "They appeared 6 hours ago and have been maintaining position near Pluto's orbit." Jake studied the sensor readings. The ships were unlike anything in Earth's databases. They were large, roughly spherical, and covered with what looked like sensor equipment. "Are they responding to our communications?" "No response to any frequency we've tried. They seem to be observing us, but making no attempt to approach or communicate." "Doctor." Amy Watson hurried into the command center carrying her tablet and looking excited despite the early hour. As Earth's leading expert on the possibility of alien life, she had been waiting her entire career for this moment. "Have we confirmed there?" "Artificial?" she asked. "Definitely artificial," Admiral Hayes confirmed. "The energy signatures are too organized to be natural phenomena. We're looking at our first contact with alien intelligence." Jake felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, they had their answer, but they had no idea what these visitors wanted or whether they were friendly. "What's our next move?" he asked. Admiral Hayes pulled up a star chart showing the alien ship's position. "I'm putting together a first contact. Team, Jake, I want you to command our diplomatic mission. Take the Terra Nova and a small crew. No weapons visible, but be ready for anything." Dr. Watson looked up from her tablet. "I've been preparing first contact protocols for years. We should assume they have different biology, different communication methods, and different social structures. This will require patience and careful observation." "How long to prep the Terra Nova?" Jake asked. 4 hours if we push it," Admiral Hayes replied. "I'm assigning you Sarah Blake as pilot, Tom Rodriguez as engineer, Steve Johnson for security, and Karen White for communications. Dr. Watson will handle the science and diplomatic aspects. Meanwhile, aboard the alien observation vessel, Commander." Zixthal was experiencing his own confusion. The probe data they had received months ago clearly showed that the third planet was a death world of unimaginable hostility. Yet their sensors were detecting not just life, but advanced technology and organized civilization. "Science Officer Quintal, explain these readings," Zixthal demanded. "Commander, I have run diagnostics on all our equipment multiple times. The readings are accurate. There is definitely an advanced civilization on the Death World. That is impossible. Nothing could survive on that planet. The temperature variations alone would kill any known species. The gravity would crush most beings. The atmospheric composition is toxic." Quintal displayed the sensor data on the main screen. "The electromagnetic signatures are consistent with spacefaring technology. We are detecting energy patterns that suggest fusion reactors, particle accelerators, and quantum communication. Networks. Could they be refugees? Survivors from another world who crash-landed there? The infrastructure is too extensive, Commander. This civilization has been established for a very long time. They have cities, transportation networks, and what appears to be a space program." Zixthal struggled to process this information. In his species' history, they had never encountered anything that could survive on a death world, let alone thrive. There, what kind of creature could evolve in such conditions? "I do not want to speculate, Commander, but any species that could survive on that world would have to be incredibly resilient, possibly dangerous." The alien crew watched nervously as their sensors detected movement from the Death World. Several small objects had launched from the planet's surface and were heading toward their position. "Are they weapons?" Zixthal asked. "Unknown, Commander. They are moving at sublight speeds and broadcasting what appears to be communication signals." 4 hours later, Captain Jake Murphy, and his crew departed Earth aboard the Terra Nova. The ship was humanity's most advanced vessel, designed for both exploration and diplomacy. As they approached the alien ships, Jake felt the weight of representing all of humanity in this historic moment. Picking up the alien vessels on sensors, Sarah Blake reported from the pilot's seat. 3 ships in triangular formation. They're not moving toward us or away from us. Tom Rodriguez monitored the engineering. Stations. Their energy signatures are interesting. Very clean fusion drives, advanced sensor arrays. These people know what they're doing. Any response to our communication attempts? Jake asked. Corinne White shook her head. I've broadcast on every frequency we know, using mathematical sequences. Prime numbers and basic physics. No response yet. Dr. Watson studied the alien ships through the view screen. They might be as nervous about this contact as we are. We need to be patient and non-threatening. As the Terra Nova drew closer, the alien crew became increasingly agitated. The Death World survivors were approaching in what appeared to be a small spacecraft. How were they even alive? How had they developed space travel while living on such? A hostile planet? Commander, they are broadcasting some kind of signal, Communications Officer Feltara reported. Can you decode it? It appears to be mathematical in nature. Prime number sequences, basic physics constants. Standard first contact protocols. They know first contact protocols? Zixthal was amazed. These Death World survivors have studied interstellar communication? It appears so, Commander. Zixthal made a decision. Respond with the same mathematical sequences. Let them know we understand their signals. Aboard the Terra Nova, Corinne White suddenly looked up with excitement. Captain, we're getting a response. They're using the same mathematical sequences we sent them. Excellent, Jake said. Try sending some simple concepts. Images, basic language structure. For the next several hours, both ships exchanged increasingly complex information. The aliens gradually realized that the Death World survivors were not only intelligent, but technologically advanced. They had developed language, mathematics, science, and space travel while living on the most hostile planet anyone had ever discovered. Dr. Watson worked frantically to decode the alien language patterns. Their communication system is very different from ours, but I'm starting to identify basic concepts. They seem as surprised to find us as we are to find them. Are they friendly? Steve Johnson asked, his hand never far from his weapon controls. Hard to tell yet, Dr. Watson replied. But they're being very cautious. They haven't made any aggressive moves. Commander Zixthal was having similar discussions with his crew. The Death World survivors seemed peaceful, but that only made them more mysterious. What kind of creature developed peaceful tendencies while evolving on a world that was constantly trying to kill them? Commander, I am receiving clearer translations of their communications, Feltara reported. They are asking about our home world and our intentions. Tell them we are explorers and scientists. Ask them how they survive on their world. When? This question was translated. There was a long pause from the human ship. Then came a response that the alien translators struggled to process. They say it is their home, Feltara reported with confusion. They claim to have evolved there naturally. That is impossible, Quintal stated. Nothing evolves on Death Worlds. Death Worlds kill everything. Zixthal stared at the human ship. Ask them to confirm. They actually evolved on that Death World? The response came quickly, and this time the translators were certain. The Death World survivors claimed that not only did they evolve on the hostile planet, but they considered it a pleasant place to live. Pleasant? Zixthal repeated. They think that nightmare world is pleasant? That is what they claim, Commander. Zixthal realized that first contact was going to be much more complicated than anyone had imagined. They were not dealing with refugees or crash survivors. They were dealing with creatures that had actually evolved to thrive in conditions that would kill most galactic species within minutes. Set up a formal meeting, he ordered, but maintain maximum safe distance. We need to understand what we are dealing with. Captain Jake Murphy received the meeting request with relief. Looks like they want to talk. Set course for the neutral zone they've suggested. This is it, people. Humanity's first official contact with alien intelligence. As both ships moved toward the meeting point, neither crew fully understood what they were about to discover about each other. The aliens could not comprehend creatures that thrived on death worlds. The humans had no idea they were about to meet species that considered Earth uninhabitable. The greatest first contact in galactic history was about to reveal that sometimes the most important differences are not about technology or culture, but about what each species considers a safe place to live. Dr. Veltar convinced the Galactic Survey Commission to approve a scientific expedition to study the impossible Death World survivors. The commission agreed, but only under the strictest safety protocols. The expedition ship Cosmic Harmony was equipped with the most advanced environmental protection systems available. The alien crew prepared for the mission, as if they were diving into a toxic waste facility. They wore triple-layered environmental suits with independent life support systems. Emergency evacuation pods were stationed throughout the ship. Medical teams stood ready to treat exposure to the Death World's hostile environment. Remember, Commander Zixthol told his crew during the final briefing, "We are dealing with creatures that somehow survived on the most dangerous planet ever discovered. We have no idea what they are capable of." Dr. Veltar checked his equipment one more time. The plan is simple. We establish a research station on the Death World's moon where we can observe them safely. Under no circumstances do we land on the planet itself. On Earth, marine biologist Dr. Rachel Kim was selected to lead humanity's delegation to the Lunar Research Station. She had volunteered immediately when the opportunity arose, excited to be part of this historic moment. Her team included geologist Mark Stone, atmospheric specialist Linda Chun, and cultural anthropologist Dave Miller. "Are you sure about this?" Admiral Hayes asked Dr. Kim during their final meeting. "These aliens seem terrified of our planet. They might be equally terrified of us." "That's exactly why we need to be there," Dr. Kim replied. "They're trying to understand us, and we need to understand them. This is the most important scientific exchange in human history." The Alien Research Station was established on the lunar surface within a week. The aliens worked quickly, eager to maintain maximum distance from the Death World while still being close enough for detailed observations. The station was built underground for additional protection, with multiple layers of shielding against the hostile environment. When Dr. Kim's shuttle approached the research station, the alien crew monitored its approach with a mixture of fascination and terror. The Death World survivors were traveling in what appeared to be a simple spacecraft with minimal environmental protection. How are they still alive? Dr. Veltar wondered aloud as he watched the shuttle dock with their station. The airlock cycled, and Dr. Kim stepped into the research station, wearing only a standard spacesuit. Several alien crew members immediately backed away from her, their environmental sensors beeping warnings about potential contamination. "Welcome to our station," Commander Zixthol said through his translator, his voice muffled by his heavy protective equipment. "We are honored to meet survivors from such a hostile world." Dr. Kim looked around at the alien crew, all wearing multiple layers of protection, and realized there had been a fundamental misunderstanding. "Thank you for hosting us. But we're not survivors. Earth is our home. We evolved there naturally." The translator struggled with this concept for several seconds before providing a translation. When it did, several aliens made sounds that the translator indicated were expressions of disbelief. "You evolved there?" Dr. Veltar asked. "On that Death World?" That is impossible. Why is it impossible? Dr. Kim asked, genuinely curious about their perspective. Dr. Veltar activated a holographic display showing Earth's environmental data. Look at these conditions. Temperature variations that would kill most species instantly. Atmospheric composition that is toxic to 90% of known life forms. Gravity levels that would crush most beings. Dr. Kim studied the data with growing understanding. I see the problem. You're judging Earth by your own environmental requirements. But we evolved specifically for Earth's conditions. Show us, Commander Zixthal requested. We want to understand how this is possible. Dr. Kim removed her space helmet, causing several aliens to retreat further. Our atmosphere isn't toxic to us. It's exactly what we need to survive. The oxygen content seems high to you, but our biology requires it. You can breathe that poison? Dr. Veltar asked in amazement. It's not poison to us. It's life. Our cells use oxygen to create energy. Without it, we die within minutes. The aliens watched in fascination as Dr. Kim breathed normally in the station's atmosphere. To them, she was casually surviving in conditions that would kill their species almost instantly. What about the temperature variations on your world? Commander Zixthal asked. We're adapted for them, Dr. Kim explained. Our bodies can regulate temperature across a wide range. We actually enjoy weather changes. Some humans even seek out extreme temperatures for recreation. Recreation? Dr. Veltar repeated. You expose yourselves to mortal danger for fun? We call it adventure sports. Mountain climbing, deep-sea diving, extreme weather photography. Many humans find these activities exciting rather than terrifying. The aliens exchanged glances that clearly indicated they thought the humans were insane. The concept of deliberately seeking danger was completely foreign to them. Tell us about your evolutionary history, Dr. Veltar requested. How did your species develop on such a hostile world? Dr. Kim called up her own holographic display showing human evolution. Our early ancestors had to survive ice ages, volcanic eruptions, predatory animals, and constant environmental challenges. Those who were tough enough survived and had children. Over millions of years, this selected for increasingly resilient traits. Your evolution was driven by survival pressure? Commander Zixthal asked. Exactly. Earth didn't make life easy for us, so we became very good at surviving difficult conditions. What about your social development? Dr. Veltar asked. Humans learned to cooperate to survive. We shared knowledge, tools, and resources. We developed technology to make survival easier, but we never lost our basic toughness. Dave Miller, the cultural anthropologist, joined the conversation. Dr. Kim, perhaps we should explain some of our recreational activities to help them understand. Human psychology. Good idea. Dr. Kim agreed. She turned back to the aliens. Would you like to see some examples of human recreational activities? The aliens agreed, and Dr. Kim activated video displays showing humans engaging in various sports and activities. The alien crew watched in growing horror as humans jumped out of aircraft, climbed vertical rock faces, and rode down mountains on small boards. They are deliberately putting themselves in mortal danger, Dr. Veltar observed, and they appear to be enjoying it, Commander Zixthal added with disbelief. Many humans find these activities relaxing and fun, Dr. Kim explained. We call it getting an adrenaline rush. The danger makes us feel more alive. Your species seeks danger to feel alive? Dr. Veltar asked. Most species seek safety to stay alive. Mark Stone, the geologist, laughed. I suppose that does sound strange when you put it that way. But remember, we evolved on a world where danger was constant. We adapted to not just survive it, but to thrive in it. Show them the ocean activities. Linda Chun suggested. Dr. Kim displayed videos of humans swimming, surfing, and diving in Earth's oceans. The alien crew became visibly agitated as they watched humans casually enter what they considered a corrosive liquid. "You voluntarily immerse yourselves in that solvent?" Commander Zixthal asked. "We love the ocean," Dr. Kim replied. "Swimming is one of our most popular activities. Many humans live near oceans specifically because they enjoy the water. The water that covers 70% of your death world," Dr. Veltar stated. "The water that makes life possible on our world." Dr. Kim corrected. Dr. Veltar requested detailed biological scans of the human visitors. The results were unlike anything in galactic medical databases. Human bone density was 3 times the galactic average. Their muscle systems were designed for high-gravity environments. Their respiratory systems were optimized for high oxygen content. "Your biology is completely adapted for death world conditions," Dr. Veltar announced after reviewing the scans. "From our perspective, your biology seems adapted for very gentle conditions," Dr. Kim replied. "What you call normal, we would consider a sterile laboratory environment. Perhaps we should share information about our respective home worlds." Commander Zixthal suggested. The aliens showed images of their peaceful worlds with stable climates, gentle weather, and carefully controlled environments. To humans, these worlds looked almost artificial in their perfection. "No storms?" Dave Miller asked. "Storms are catastrophic events that we try to prevent," Dr. Veltar explained. "No seasonal changes? Why would we want the temperature to change? Randomly? No natural disasters? We consider any environmental instability to be a serious problem that requires immediate correction." Dr. Kim began to understand the fundamental difference between their species. "You've created perfect, safe environments. We evolved in an imperfect, dangerous environment. That's why we seem so strange to each other. But how do you maintain your civilization with all that chaos?" Commander Zixthal asked. "The chaos made us stronger," Linda Chun explained. "Every challenge we faced taught us something new. Every disaster we survived made us better prepared for the next one." "So the death world conditions actually helped your development?" Dr. Veltar asked. "They didn't just help us," Dr. Kim said. "They made us who we are. Earth isn't our enemy. It's our teacher. It taught us to be tough, adaptable, and creative." The aliens spent the next several. News of the death world survivors spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire. Every species wanted to know more about these impossible beings who had somehow evolved on the most hostile planet ever discovered. The Galactic Council called an emergency session to discuss how to handle this unprecedented situation. Dr. Patricia Moore, Earth's newly appointed ambassador to the galaxy, prepared for what would be the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. She reviewed her notes one final time as her shuttle approached the massive council station orbiting the capital world of Centauri Prime. "Remember," her aide Kevin Park whispered as they docked, "most of these species have never encountered anything like us. They're probably as nervous as we are." The council chamber was enormous, designed to accommodate hundreds of different species with varying environmental requirements. Dr. Moore entered wearing a simple business suit, causing immediate murmurs among the alien delegates who had expected her to wear elaborate environmental protection equipment. Speaker Vox Neural of the Harmony Collective called the session to order. "We are gathered to discuss the recent discovery of intelligent life on a Class 12 death world. Ambassador Moore, would you please address the council regarding your species?" Dr. Moore approached the speaking platform, aware that hundreds of alien eyes were watching her every movement. "Honored delegates, I am here to represent humanity and to help you understand that Earth is not a prison, but our home." "Your home?" interrupted Delegate Kreckstall of the Iron Shell Dominion. "Our surveys indicate your world experiences temperature swings that would kill most known life forms." Those temperature swings are normal for Earth, Dr. Moore replied calmly. Humans have adapted to live comfortably across a wide range of temperatures. We even enjoy seasonal changes. You enjoy environmental instability? Asked Delegate Silphara of the Crystal Gardens. That seems ... unwise. What you call instability, we call variety. Earth's changing seasons bring different opportunities and experiences. Many humans feel sad when the weather stays the same for too long. The alien delegates buzzed with confused conversations. The concept of preferring environmental change over stability was difficult for them to grasp. Delegate Vexicor of the Peaceful Current spoke next. Ambassador, we have received reports that your species deliberately exposes itself to mortal danger for recreation. Is this accurate? Yes, many humans enjoy adventure sports and extreme activities. We find them exciting and fulfilling. Could you explain this behavior? It seems contrary to basic survival instincts. Dr. Moore activated a holographic display showing various human activities. These are examples of what humans do for fun: rock climbing, skydiving, deep-sea exploration, mountain hiking. The council chamber erupted in shocked exclamations as aliens watched humans, voluntarily putting themselves in situations that would terrify most galactic species. They are deliberately courting death, observed Delegate Fainter of the Gentle Shepherds. From their perspective, we might appear to be deliberately courting boredom, Dr. Moore replied. Humans need challenge and excitement to feel fully alive. Speaker Boxnarrow called for order. Ambassador Moore, help us understand. How did your species develop these ... unusual traits? Earth shaped us through millions of years of evolutionary pressure. Our ancestors faced constant challenges from predators, natural disasters, climate changes, and competition for resources. Those who were strongest, smartest, and most adaptable survived to have children. So, your evolution was driven by conflict and survival pressure? Asked Delegate Krextel. Exactly. We didn't evolve in safe, controlled environments. We evolved in chaos, and we learned to thrive in it. Meanwhile, in a private meeting room, representatives of the Apex Confederation were having their own discussion. About the humans. The Apex had always considered themselves the galaxy's premier warrior species, but the discovery of Deathworld survivors was challenging their assumptions. General Vashkara, Supreme Commander of the Apex military, studied human combat footage with growing unease. These Deathworld dwellers have engaged in warfare throughout their history. Yes, General, replied Intelligence Officer Pekinar. Our analysis indicates they had been fighting organized conflicts for thousands of years, even while battling. Their hostile environment, fighting on multiple fronts simultaneously, against their environment and each other? It appears so, General. They developed weapons, tactics, and strategies while dealing with natural disasters, predatory animals, and environmental extremes. General Vashkora watched footage of human soldiers training in conditions that would disable most Apex warriors. They train in environments that we would consider torture chambers. General, look at this report, Pekinar said, highlighting a document. Human soldiers routinely operate in temperatures below freezing or above 40 degrees Celsius. They can function with minimal sleep, limited food, and constant stress. Our warriors require optimal conditions to perform at peak efficiency, General Vashkara admitted. These humans seem to perform well regardless of conditions. There is more, General. Human military history shows they have developed psychological conditioning that allows them to continue fighting even when facing overwhelming odds. General Vashkara put down the reports. What you are describing sounds less like warriors and more like unstoppable force of nature. That may be an accurate assessment, General. Back in the council chamber, Dr. Moore was fielding questions about human society and culture. Ambassador, said Delegate Trilax of the Emerald Seas, we are curious about how your species maintains social cohesion given your aggressive evolutionary background. Humans learned that cooperation is essential for survival, Dr. Moore explained. Yes, we can be competitive and even aggressive, but we're also capable of tremendous cooperation and compassion. Can you give us examples? When natural disasters strike, humans from around the world send aid to help victims. When faced with common threats, human nations that were previously enemies will work together. Our capacity for cooperation is as strong as our capacity for competition. But you still engage in conflicts with each other? Asked Delegate Vexicor. Unfortunately, yes. But we're constantly working to reduce conflicts and solve problems peacefully. Many humans dedicate their lives to promoting peace and understanding. Dr. Moore paused to let this sink in. I think what you need to understand is that humans contain what you might see as contradictions. We can be gentle or fierce, cooperative, or competitive, peaceful or aggressive, depending on what the situation requires. This adaptability, observed Speaker Voxnarrow, it seems to be a defining characteristic of your species. Exactly. Earth taught us that survival requires the ability to change and adapt quickly. We learned to be flexible in our thinking and our behavior. After several hours of discussion, the council took a recess. In the corridors, clusters of alien delegates gathered to share their thoughts about the humans. They are unlike anything we have encountered, said Delegate Krextau to a group of military representatives. Their capabilities are disturbing, added General Vashkara. A species that can thrive on a death world might be capable of anything. But they seem peaceful, observed Delegate Silthara. They are here to establish diplomatic